Tin, 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 tin. Hello, boils and ghouls. It's your old pal, John Kassir, the voice of the Crypt Keeper. And tonight's tale I call... If you've seen one episode, you should see them all. And you should, kiddies, because tonight my good fiends Jamie and Nelson will be talking everything Tales from the Crypt, from episode to episode, from season to season, from scream to scream.
Man, freaking Crypt Keeper. How awesome is that?
Thanks, John. We're good friends.
You know, I got that from you. I appreciate the fact that you got him to do that.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I just one quick phone call and he was like, sure, just send it to me and I'll do it.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, hello once again. This is Complete Disarray with Jamie Ray and with Nelson Gonzalez. We are coming to you from the not so average home theater, which it's really so more than average.
Yeah. I mean, I guess maybe a little bit, but I mean, the gear, whenever I started the channel, the gear that I had was very average.
Oh, I
have increased the quality of my gear. So it's probably a little bit above average now, but it's still not, dude. If you know the home theater community, like the real hardcore people, this is baby poop.
So you're going to get you a new 96-inch QLED screen.
Negative. I wouldn't be able to get up the stairs.
Well, besides, you're a diehard projectionist, right?
Oh, absolutely. Like even if I could, I wouldn't do it. I'm sorry. TVs do not belong in a home theater.
It's true, except a flat screen, a CRT.
Correct. That's okay.
For special.
That's okay. Yeah.
So if you've been following the show, we were taking 3 episodes from each season and kind of talking about them. And Nelson had the idea, which I rapidly agreed with, that instead of that, we would pick our fave 5 episodes. Gosh, that has a good ring.
Yeah. I wonder where that came from.
I don't know. So we would pick 5 episodes and we would both watch them and then we could discuss them. So again, bravo to you, sir. I think that was a great idea.
I'm pat myself on the back.
Yeah, I'm going to pat you on the back too.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
You're very welcome. So, you ready to get into it?
I'm ready.
Okay. So we're going to jump right into season 5 and we're going to go with the very first premiere episode from the season. The Death of Some Salesman. This came from The Haunt of Fear number 15, and it was originally released on October 2nd, 1993. This is a fun episode.
It really is.
For a lot of reasons. So first of all, you've got Ed Begley Jr., who people know from St. Elsewhere and stuff. I know him because he was in the 2-part episode on Voyager. But you know, that's a Star Trek show.
Okay.
You're going to hear Star Trek several times in this episode, because you need to hear it a lot.
Well, there's a guy from Star Trek in another episode we're going to discuss. You'll be happy that I knew that.
I am happy that you knew that. I've actually met him a couple times.
Oh, really?
It's pretty cool.
The Johnny Cab? Okay.
Exactly. So we start off with Judd Campbell. Well, actually, we start off with a new Judd Campbell because he's getting with his lady,
right?
Who in the next morning he's getting ready to leave, and she's like, "I thought you loved me," and he's like, "Yeah." Baby,
he's like,
"I'm a salesman."
Right? Yeah. So immediately you know what kind of person this guy is. He's a salesman. Sorry if there's any salesmen that watch this, but he's a salesman, and they have certain reputations, and in the way he treats this lady, he's a scumbag.
You know, right away,
off the top.
He's right away. He is slick. And his latest gig is selling overpriced because they don't exist burial plots.
Right.
And it's pretty actually clever the way he does it. He goes through the obituaries and finds where husbands died, and he shows up at the house to tell the wife, not knowing he's dead, hey, your husband paid for half of this $10,000 life insurance policy and burial plot. Oh, he's dead. Well, if we only had the other $250. And the first person he pulls that on that we get to see, Yvonne DiCarlo. Are you familiar with her?
No, I didn't recognize her.
Okay. That is Lillian Munster.
Oh, is it really?
Munsters. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yvonne DiCarlo, not Lillian. Lillian was the name of it. But anyway, pulls it off perfectly. She ends up finding $250 to give to him.
So she can collect $10,000. And he's like, what he says, I suppose if you pay me in cash.
Because it was her idea. So he's a slick dude. So he goes around and he's doing this, and he ends up at a house that is basically the wrong.
Well, there's before that, there's a little montage where he's just collecting that. You just see hands giving him money. And so
envelopes.
He's obviously been to a few houses first, and then he ends up at this farm.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's when we get to meet the mom of the family. Ma Brackett. And so you go in, and she is, she's a
beautiful woman,
handsome woman, who then introduces Pa Brackett, who is a handsome, severe man.
Right. They almost look like the same person.
Almost. I mean, I don't want to say kissing cousins or anything, but you watch it and make your own. And so he's going to sell them this plot, and they seem extremely interested because they love salesmen.
Yep.
And he is trying to get them in, and then,
well, you hear the cha-ching when he sees electronics.
Well, did you notice what that electronics was?
No.
It was a CED player.
Oh, you have one, don't you?
I do. And I was like, oh, because it wasn't a laser disc. It was a CED. And I'm like,
okay.
Oh my God, that is so cool.
So yeah, he sees electronics. So he's thinking, they have money, so I can get them. And he doubles down. Right. Well, at first he tells them it's a $500 policy. And they're like, is that all? And he goes, well, but if you, for $750, you get double the amount.
Both of you double. So
right,
$40,000.
Right. So, and they're like, oh, okay, well, follow me. And so Pa leaves to go get the money.
Right.
But then Ma's like, you want some coffee? Mm-hmm. And he goes, sure. So she takes him into the kitchen, gives him some coffee, which is cold.
Yeah.
Okay. So she
microwave it.
Right. She goes away because Paul's calling for her. Then he goes to microwave it, and then what's in the microwave?
It's Microwave Massacre all over again. You've seen that, huh?
No, you told me about it. Oh, no. I heard it on one of your episodes.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm going to let you borrow it.
Sounds disgusting.
There's a head.
There's a severed head in the microwave.
So it's like,
oof. So he starts screaming, and then he opens the pantry, and there's a body in the pantry as well.
It was part of vacuum cleaner.
He was impaled. His head was impaled on a vacuum cleaner. So he's screaming. He runs out, and
boom.
They knock him out or something.
Knock him out.
Yeah, Pa knocks him out with a baseball bat.
Right.
Yeah.
So he starts to wake up down in the basement, and he basically hears that the Pa's going to kill him because they hate salesmen. But Ma's like, well, maybe, just maybe, Winona could meet him, and maybe he likes her. And she's like, Winona ain't like nobody. So eventually we then get to meet the daughter, Winona, who is she's
a spitting image
of Ma and Pa together. She does spit, as a matter of fact, sometimes.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh my God. So he then starts to play like he loves her. But
he's thinking he has to do it for survival.
Right.
Like, I have to pretend like she's beautiful and I love her, because he knows that if he doesn't marry
he's going in the hole.
They're going to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Winona loves to hear the words, but she says the body don't lie.
Oh,
and this was the most cringe.
I know. Like I was watching like this.
Oh my God. So Winona got him handcuffed on the bed and she stands up and those granny potato sack panties that she washed, what was it, 2 weeks ago?
Something like that. And she like kind of shows him. She's like,
I kind of expect to see like gnats fly out of it or something. And
it reminded me of Kingpin. Do you remember Kingpin?
Oh yeah.
When he asked to, what's her name?
Vanessa Angel.
No. The one that goes,
yeah.
What's her name? She's in all the horror movies. That Gummit. She was at Texas Frightmare. She was married to Lynn Shay.
Oh, okay.
Lynn Shay.
Okay.
When Woody Harrelson she's his landlord and he has to sleep with her for the rent, and she's all gross. That's what it reminded me of.
So she goes to mount him,
right,
and realizes, whoa, you're just lying. Mm-hmm. So through sheer will,
the will to live,
he's able to
get ready.
Mm-hmm.
He gets himself ready.
Then his whole world gets turned upside down, because as cringy and as much as he shouldn't enjoy it, he enjoys it. It is the most exciting experience he's ever had.
Now, as this disgusting scene was going on, I was sitting here wondering, I wonder if Tim Curry really was doing that, because it was the back shot. It had to be, I would imagine
it was him. No,
you think it was him?
Oh, I 100%.
Oh God, that had to be probably hilarious to film, but at the same time, very uncomfortable.
Yeah. So he just let the cat out of the bag, which is fine.
I'm sorry.
We were going to. Ma, Pa, and Winona
are all Tim Curry.
All played by Tim Curry. Perfectly played by Tim Curry. So anyway, yeah, I think it was him.
You think it was him?
Such I think it's him. So at this point, he's like so messed in the head, because it was a good experience for him, and he feels like he can do this. And then Winona,
so she convinces her parents,
let him live.
Yes, let him live. He's gonna marry me. Mm-hmm. And so the next scene, Paul,
who's a preacher,
who happens to be a preacher,
mm-hmm.
is gonna marry them.
Mm-hmm.
So they start doing that. Well, don't they start fighting? I have that. During the wedding, they start fighting.
Right.
And
he won't take off the handcuffs.
That's what it is. Paul won't take off the handcuffs. So, Winona starts fighting him, and then she fights the mom, and she kills mom and dad.
Mm-hmm. No,
right?
She kills Ma. Well, they're fighting over the shotgun, because she gets, I think it was Ma first, and then Pa,
and then bangs his head on the floor or something.
Yeah, something like that.
But anyway, she kills both of them.
Right.
Is what I have written down.
Mm-hmm.
And then she tells him that there's money downstairs.
Yeah.
That they can
dig up
and run away together. Mm-hmm. So they go into the basement, and she gives him a shovel and tells him to start digging, right?
Which he does.
He digs all the way down to his ding, ding, ding. The classic movie, you hit something. And it's a little box.
A wooden box.
Yeah.
Must have some jewels.
Must have something in there. Pulls it out, and what does he see?
He sees his own burial plot deed.
Yeah, his own death certificate.
That's a long way to go to set the guy up.
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay.
Oh no, we missed something.
What?
We missed it before he starts digging. He shoots Winona.
Right. Okay, you're right. Because I remember she gets shot.
Yeah. When she told him it was down there, he's like, okay. Then he shoots her. Then he digs.
Because when he opens it,
somebody's like, "What'd you find?" or something like that, and it's Paul, right? Uh-huh. It's Paul and Ma, and then Winona gets up. I got this fake blood on my wedding dress.
Hope it comes out my dress.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which I hate too. You know?
Yeah. And then they kill him.
Yeah.
The best part is whenever Paul yells, salesmanship. That was awesome. And then he blasts him with the shotgun.
So on the DVD or on the release, there is actually an additional like 14-minute episode that's a animated version taking the original Haunt of Fear comic book and setting it to life. Okay. It's one of those, like, you know, the cutouts where the arm moves or whatnot. And it's kind of cool because that story was set when this guy was driving an old jalopy, and the whole Winona part thing of it didn't exist. But as soon as he gets into the house, they start showing it. Ma starts showing him that the refrigerator they bought didn't work, and they ended up having to fix it. And then he's like, well, yeah, he goes in and is, oh, good. All nice supplies. Everything's from the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes and opens up the stove. That's where they find a body. And then he goes and opens up the pantry, and that's where the guy so all of those deaths, including one in the TV.
Oh, we forgot about the TV. Yeah, it was a body in a hollowed out TV.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Paul's like, yeah, every one of them things didn't work. So I made them work. You know?
So that's basically the premise of the show.
Yeah.
They know that salesmen are ripping them off.
Mm-hmm.
So they lure them in and they end up killing them different ways. And this one, he almost, if he would have just not tried to kill Winona, he probably would have been able to run away with her.
Yeah.
But that was the ultimate test type thing. And when he betrayed her by shooting her with the fake round, they decided to kill him.
That's it.
So unless you think they were doing that with all of them.
Well, I don't know I don't think it would go the same distance with all the different ones, but it does bring up a good point. Was what if he dug it up, didn't kill her, dug it up, opened it up, and it was that same thing. And then he'd be like, so then would they have still killed him anyway? Because Winona, for all intents and purposes, loved him.
Right. And she was ready to take the money and run.
Exactly. You know, so I don't know. It makes for an interesting discussion. So, okay.
Either way, it's Tales from the Crypt, and all bad people get what's coming to them.
Yeah. And some good people every once in a while.
Every now and then.
Yeah. So, we now move on to episode 5.
Mm-hmm.
We jump over a few, and it is people who live in brass hearses.
Yep. And I remembered this one, but actually all of the episodes we watched, I remembered watching them, but I couldn't remember how they ended.
Oh, well, that's good.
And when I saw the end of this one, I was like, oh yeah. Yeah.
So this one originally aired October 13th, 1993, and it was based on the Vault of Horror number 27. Original story in there. Billy DeLuca played to the maximum allowable by Bill Paxton.
Rest in peace.
Gosh. He plays a quirky thief with a serious obsession with butter and all things buttery, which
is weird.
But it's okay. So after 2 years, he gets out of prison and he meets back up with his brother, who again is portrayed to the max, this time by Brad Dourif. The great, the want to arm wrestle.
Oh, yeah, from Body Parts.
From Body Parts.
So yeah, Brad Dourif's name is Virgil and Bill Paxton's name is Billy.
Yeah. And so they hatch a plan to get revenge on Earl Bird, who is Michael Lerner, who you may remember as Fulton from Elf. He's the editor who finds out, you know, so
he's in a lot of stuff.
He's a good character actor.
He was Arnold Rothstein in Harlem Nights.
Oh,
yeah, he's in a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So what they want to do, and this guy's he runs his own ice cream truck. Okay.
Yeah.
And so they're going to kill him, and because he's the one who turned Billy.
Right.
in.
Yeah. Bill Paxton worked for him and was stealing money from him.
Right.
So he turned him in, and Bill Paxton went to prison for embezzlement.
Yeah. So he hatches this plan, which you don't quite get, but so Virgil works at the ice cream warehouse.
Right.
Okay.
Where they load up
the trucks.
which I
believe the trucks are independently owned.
Probably.
One of the things I read says that he worked for the truck was part of the warehouse company, but I don't think
no, those ice cream guys, they're self-employed.
Yeah,
that's their truck.
That's what I thought. So anyway, they're going to stop the woman who runs the place, who has a thing for Mr. Bird. But gosh, Virgil just ain't, that boy just ain't right.
Right.
He just ain't
and
right.
he really hates her. She's his boss, and he really hates her.
She treats him so bad. But then everybody, including his own brother,
treats him bad, right?
So things go awry, and they end up, before they're able to get into the safe, he kills her.
Right.
Virgil kills her in like a fit of rage, and the safe is locked. So they're like, oh, crap. Well, what are we going to do? I know. Well, let's go ahead and rob Bird then. At least we can get that money from him. And there's this tense scene where
I actually really enjoyed that scene.
It was really cool.
She was crawling because Virgil had stabbed her multiple times, but he didn't kill her. He thought he did. Did you see what he
stabbed her with too? It was like brass knuckles with I don't know.
And she was crawling, and Bird kept looking in his mirrors, but he was like, come on, hurry up. And she was crawling. If he'd have just looked in his side view mirror, he would have seen her crawling.
Right.
And Bill Paxton, instead of just running and grabbing her and pulling her over, he does this crazy thing where he gets a big meat hook.
Yeah.
And he ends up hitting her right in the head and dragging her skull.
I'll tell you something, you call that a meat hook. It could actually also be an ice hook, because back in the day, my great uncle worked on the Red River, and they would use two really big oversized hooks to get big chunks of ice.
Oh, like they do the same thing with hay and all that. I guess hooks are.
So it's okay. Like just, that's kind of what I thought when I saw it, because it was an ice cream shop. So it was probably one of those things that was, a hearkening back to, that, I don't know. That's just where my mind went.
So that's a good little scene though.
It's
probably the most tense scene in the whole movie. One detail we forgot was the ice cream man, when he stops and talks to the kids, he has a hand puppet.
Yes. That's true.
And it seems to have its own voice.
Because he could actually drink.
Right. And it's talking to the kids. So yeah.
Did you see that? You didn't even see my lips move.
So just a little detail I had to add real quick.
To come in there. So he ends up getting mad and leaves.
Right.
Never seeing her. So they're like, you know what? We can't get the money from the safe.
Yeah, because she closed the safe before she left the office where Virgil had tried to kill her.
Yeah.
She closed the safe, so then they couldn't get in the safe.
Right.
So now they got to go to Bird's house and rob him directly.
And by this point, it's already dark, and they break into his house, and Virgil goes off this way, and Billy goes over here, and he opens up a freezer, and all of the ice cream sandwiches are actually stacks of
with
bills.
money. Yep.
Yeah. And so he's super excited. He's finally found the money. And then he goes back, and there's Mr. Bird. And Mr. Bird has Virgil on a wire. I don't know exactly what he did to him, but Billy was not happy with it. And so Billy ends up taking a shotgun and blowing a huge chunk of his head off.
Yep.
So he's like, fine, I'm just going to take the money and I'm getting out of here. And when he comes back, wait, there's Mr. Bird again, but he's perfectly fine. And then
boom, he shoots his leg off. So Bill Paxton's leg flies off.
Just literally flies off. You can see it.
Yeah, it's a good little scene.
And then when Bill's laying on the ground, you can see the stump and everything. And he's like, whoa.
And then you're wondering, how the hell is Bird up talking to him? He just shot his face off.
I was like, what is going? Because a lot of times you could kind of piece together what may be happening. I had no idea at this point what was going on. So what's going on is
he's a conjoined twin. So he turns around and his brother is on his back with his head half blown off. Yeah. And that's how he's able to do the puppet thing. One of them is driving and the other one is just in the back. And then he closes like a window so you don't see him driving anymore.
And I noticed that going back to the beginning, when he pulls up to do the kids, he pulls down the shades.
And then he pulls up on the side of the ice cream truck and he's there and he's talking with the puppet. So the other one is doing the talking for the puppet, and that's how he was doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he gives Bill Paxton a cherry swirl ice cream, and everything's fine. Oh no,
no. I don't remember how he killed him.
So I believe he shoots him.
He just shoots him.
I believe he shoots him again. I don't exactly remember, but I think that's what he did. And so then we fade to the ice cream truck again, and it's got spray painted on the side, half price ice cream. So Mr. Bird is not doing as well as he used to.
Yeah, he looks terrible.
He does. And the kids think he smells.
Yeah, they're like, man, you stink.
You stink.
And that's because he's got a rotting corpse on his back.
Yep. And then
this reminded me of the episode I did in one of the other ones with Don Rickles, where he has his twin on his hand, the ventriloquist.
Yeah.
It made me think of that one.
Yeah, that's a good callback. Yeah. So I liked this one. I thought it was good.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I've seen better performances by Bill Paxton. But Tales from the Crypt calls for a certain type.
Right. And look, here's the thing with Bill Paxton. Okay. He's either really, really good or he's over the top.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't have
that's what makes
much in between.
So good.
Right. But I watched A Simple Plan, but that's what I was going to say. I watched A Simple Plan with producer Nick. Frailty, even Twister, you know, he's pretty subdued, normal guy type thing. But normal. But then you have Aliens, where he's over the top soldier. You have this, you know, he's kind of either or, you know, the straight guy.
Wow. Yeah. Good stuff. I was reading comics last night. I have one of those Comixology things, and I was reading a, what was I reading? Oh, it was the, Ultimates, kind of where the MCU got their idea for this new, the last 10 years.
Oh, okay.
And there's a bunch of SHIELD soldiers and stuff. And one of them he calls him out and says, Spunkmeyer, get over here, which is what Bill's name was in Aliens. So I was like, I know that.
No.
Yeah. No, not Spunkmeyer.
Spunkmeyer was the other pilot.
Yeah. But because the sergeant kept calling, Spunkmeyer, get over here. Yeah. But no, that's what I'm saying. I'm agreeing with you. It's
yeah. Bill Paxton was Hudson.
Yeah. So,
come here, Hudson. Come here.
Okay, so then we go to the very next episode, which came out a week later on October 20th, 1993, which I really like this one.
Yeah.
Because Strangers on a Train, the Hitchcock movie, is one of my favorite Hitchcock films.
I've never even heard of that.
It's really wonderful. Okay, you saw Throw Mama from the Train?
Yes, but it's been years.
All right, that's based on Strangers from a Train.
Oh, okay.
Stranger. Basically, it's a story about these two guys. Well, Strangers on a Train is about these two guys who are on a train who don't know each other. Who one starts complaining about his wife or fiance, the other was complaining about his mom, and they just kind of start talking. And they're like, "Yeah, if you could kill my mom, then I could." Then I could kill your, and nobody would know it was us. And the guy's like, yeah, right. And he goes home, and sure enough, within a couple of days, the fiance wife is dead. And then Bruno, the guy, shows up and he's like, okay, I killed her. Now you got to go kill my mom. It's like, what are you talking about? We were just talking.
So Throw Mama from the Train is based on that story.
Based on that story. So this one has some of that same appeal to it.
Yeah, they may have taken that idea and just kind of changed a few things, because it is similar to that.
So in this one, Andy Conway, who's played by David Paymer, who played Dr. Benoyo in Picard, Star Trek Picard.
I didn't realize he was in Star Trek.
Picard's doctor who tells him about the disease that he has. So he's a chatty, work-obsessed husband whose world unravels when his wife, Emma, who this is the most unbelievable part of any episode of Tales from the Crypt I've ever seen. He's married to friggin' Tracy Lords. Come on.
Hey, man, money talks.
I guess so. If you don't know who Tracy Lords is, she was a former adult movie star who was able to make her break and into regular movies. She was in Crybaby as Wanda Watterson, I think. And she was also in Stephen King's Tommyknockers.
You know, I have that VHS. I have not watched it yet.
Do you? She's also in another movie called Not of This Earth, which is kind of like a schlocky sci-fi movie. But anyway, so she's just tired of it. She says she's found someone else and she's leaving him.
Mm-hmm.
And he loses his mind. They end up fighting and he kills her.
Right.
So
a neighbor hears a scream.
Right.
And then calls the police.
Right. And so we switch to the police department.
Right. The police officer is speaking to this neighbor, whoever it is. They don't show.
Yeah.
And he says the address out loud, and then his partner overhears it, and he's like, Yeah,
Officer Fine.
Officer Fine. He's like, he takes the paper and he's like, I'll take care of this. Before that, he was, who's he played by?
He's played by Vincent Spano, who is most known for Rumblefish.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway,
he's complaining about
he was complaining about his wife, how she's just a ball buster and they can't stand each other and blah, blah, blah. So
and the guy's like, well, aren't y'all going fishing this weekend? He's like, I'm going fishing. Right. Yeah.
But whenever you hear Emma tell her husband that she's been cheating on him, and then Officer Fine is like, oh, I'll take care of that, and he's in this bad marriage, you start thinking, why is he so interested in this address?
Right.
So he goes to, he walks out the door. Then it cuts back to your boy, his name, Andy. And he is attempting to put her in a suitcase.
A trunk.
A trunk, yeah, like one of those big, like magician-looking trunks. Yeah. And while he's in the middle of trying to do that, ding dong, Officer Fine is at the door.
Officer Fine.
Right. So he goes and he answers the door, and he's pretending like he's, about to take a bath. And Officer Fine, is like, oh, can I come in? And just kind of walks in type thing, asking questions, this and that. And he's very interested. And you're thinking, okay, well, that's because he's stooping the wife.
Yeah.
That's why he wants to know where she is, why she's not here. And he's like, oh, she left. We got an argument. She's going to Chicago and blah, blah, blah. So Officer Fine starts walking around and he's going to the trunk, and you're like, oh, of course, there's nothing in the trunk.
Right.
Then
so there's a little bit of blood on the outside.
Yeah, there's a little bit of blood on the outside. He's like, what's that
and
from?
Her ring. A ring.
A class ring.
Yeah.
He's like, where is this from? And or he asked where he went to school and where'd your wife go to school. Neither one of us went to school here, but it's a high school ring from the area.
Okay.
So he goes into the bathroom, and right when he opens the door, you get an overhead shot, which is really neat.
Great shot. Yeah.
It's a good shot. And you see the bathtub, water running. It's a bubble bath, but right over the face, it's uncovered and she's in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's able to kind of put bubbles on top of her face so Officer Fine doesn't see that there's a body in there. He thinks it's just he's getting a bath ready.
Right.
Yeah.
And so he ends up leaving and saying, oh, by the way, some other officers are going to come by later.
Yep.
So what? So next we see him going through the train station.
Well, before you get to that, right after the officer leaves, he starts cutting up the body with an electric knife. Yeah. And then you see him putting it in a trunk.
Yeah. In that same trunk.
The same trunk. Then the next scene
is him going to the
the train station. But guess who's there?
Officer Fine.
Officer Fine in plain clothes.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool because he has a pretty good idea. He's checking the trunk in and he doesn't fill out the paperwork.
He's forgetting to fill out the address on the tag.
To leave, Officer Fine's like, hey, Mr. Conway, going to Chicago. And he has a story. Oh, yeah, well, my wife called and she left some things. And so I'm sending it to her.
Right. And then the bellhop comes up. Hey, you forgot to fill out the address. So everybody's just throwing monkey wrenches in his game plan, which would have been a good plan. It gets put on the trunk. He just doesn't go. And then they're like, who is this for? I have no idea who it's for.
Would have worked. And
great. Then,
not off-duty Officer Fine.
Officer Fine was on to something.
Yeah. So he's like, okay, well, I'm going to go. And he gets on the train. He's like, okay, I'm just going to figure out a way. I'll get rid of this. And then who sits down across from him?
Officer Fine.
Oh, this guy is like, he can't poop on his shoe. He can't get rid of it. And so they start talking, and that he knows something is up. and starts, well, they were eating meatloaf or something like that.
Well, he starts messing with him a little bit. Then Andy says, well, I'm hungry. He goes to get something to eat. And then Officer Fine shows up.
Yeah.
And starts telling him how
would you murder somebody if you were going to murder?
Right.
Somebody?
How would you do it? And how would you get rid of the body? But then he starts telling him how, well, on the next stop, the FBI is going to be getting on the train because of this sting operation we have going on.
Because the guy's moving drugs.
He's trying to get Andy comfortable that they're not there for him, but then he drops the big one, and they're going to search each and every bag on this train.
Right.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden now he's like, oh crap. So he's like, oh, I have to excuse me. I got to go get some air. Goes back to the luggage compartment and finds another
trunk that looks similar.
Switches and puts his tag on there, and then throws the wife's remains off. And he's like, whew, that is done.
Done it.
And when he comes back and sits down, they pull into Peoria, and here come the FBI.
Yep.
That's when they drop the bomb.
Well, actually, it wasn't the FBI. Well, it was just regular officers. Police. He was lying to him. Yeah.
And they show up and they're like, well, we dropped the bomb on you, baby.
Mm-hmm.
And they go and they find his truck. Now, at this point, I was actually thinking, maybe he is going to open up that trunk and it would actually, by coincidence, be full of drugs.
Mm.
And then he'd be like, well, I'm not going to jail for that, but I'm going to jail for a long time for this. But it's not what happens.
I didn't remember what it was either.
Yeah.
So they make him open it.
He doesn't know where his key is.
Right. And then a police officer helps him jimmy it open. Opens it, and what does he see?
Body parts.
A dead body. But he's like, that's not my wife.
Yeah, whose body part? It's a woman, but it's not mine.
And Officer Fine goes, that's my wife.
Dun, dun, dun.
Then he's like, you murdered my wife because out of a jealous rage, because you found out she was sleeping with your wife.
And they were running away to Chicago.
Right.
Where is your wife? And then he's like, no. I killed my wife. I didn't kill her. I
got rid of the body. I threw it off. Yeah.
And so, no, they end up taking him
so they're
away.
Like, good story. Yeah. That is not what you did. And so he convinces the officers, Officer Fine convinces the officers to take him into custody, and he's going to take care of the rest. They got their guy, right? Mm-hmm. And the next scene, you see Officer Fine driving and picking up the trunk that Andy threw off, putting it in his vehicle, and he goes back home and he disposes of
literally garbage
in the garbage disposal. He gets rid of Andy's wife because the whole time he knew that his wife and Andy's wife were together.
Tags.
So he killed his wife and framed Andy for that murder.
Yeah.
And it was now, do you think he knew Andy killed his own wife too?
I think this is just me. All right. I think he was planning on killing his wife. Okay. Officer Fine was. And then when he found out that this had happened and he went over there and figured out, oh yeah, Conway's killed his wife. He goes back home and he kills his
own wife and then sets him up.
It sets him up for it. Now, the only other thing it could have been is maybe he killed her and was going to take her on the fishing trip and drop the body parts in a lake. And then he's like, oh, but this would even work better.
This is even better. Yeah.
So it could go either way, but yeah.
I'm thinking maybe when he saw the blood on the trunk, he kind of pieced together. He kind of pieced together that, well, maybe he is going to put the body in this trunk.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
So at that point, that's when we start to realize it was the wife's wedding ring. I mean,
it was his
ring.
It was his class ring that he gave to his wife, and she apparently dropped it in the apartment.
Yes, when they were
doing their wow. Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that was a good one. Like I said,
that's a good episode.
I will loan you "Strangers on a Train." I have the best scene in the whole thing. Bruno is the crazy guy. The other guy is actually a tennis champion. And there's this amazing scene that takes place while he's playing tennis. I'm not going to say anything else, but it literally is one of my fave 5 scenes of any movie.
Okay.
So
yeah, I look forward to it.
All right. Well, we're going to jump now to episode, is that 11?
Episode 11.
And that is Oils Well That Ends Well.
Now, I remember the majority of this episode.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's got a really big cameo in it. So, of course, that's why. So it originally came from the Tales from the Crypt comic book, number 34. And it was released on November 24th, 1993, which I think I looked it up. It's right around Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay.
So what a good thing to be thankful for. You want to take us from there?
Yeah, it's starring Priscilla Presley as Gina, which Priscilla was a smoke show back then.
Yes.
Okay. I just saw her at Mississippi Comic-Con.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, she's a tiny little thing.
Yeah.
I didn't get to meet her. And I was actually shocked. Her line was one of the longest guest lines that
really?
Yeah.
Well, she was the queen.
So I was really surprised at how many people were, you think it'd be just older people would be interested in that, but I mean, the woman is part of American history.
Yeah, I mean, she was in the Naked Gun movie,
right? But I mean, I think most of all, it's just being married to Elvis.
I think so too. And Mississippi, I mean, Elvis had a big connection in Tupelo, and so yeah, that's cool though.
So Priscilla Presley as Gina, Lou Diamond Phillips as Jerry, which I love Lou Diamond Phillips.
Yep.
Alan Ruck, which I don't remember his name in the show, but
his name was oh, you know what? I didn't put it down either.
And then of course John Kassir plays Larry, the Crypt Keeper himself. The
Crypt Keeper himself, who is that's where the episode starts.
Yes,
Lou Diamond Phillips is digging up a grave after
a con. You can tell they had conned somebody out of some money.
Right. Somehow. I don't know how that worked, but they dig it up. They open up the coffin of the dead guy, and it's John Kassir.
Right.
With $20,000 in cash.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets out and he's like looking at her because she's like in her underwear. And he's like, I haven't been dead for 20 minutes and you're already sticking my wife. I don't care though. She's an old hag. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, she was like in her 40s.
Yeah.
In 1993. But
so anyway. they shoot him or she shoots him.
No, Larry, Lou Diamond Phillips or
Larry.
Jerry shoots Larry.
And then
he falls back into the coffin.
Yeah. But they don't cover him up.
No.
So when that was happening, I was like, why did they do that? And then later on, you figure out why.
You find out something else.
So they have pulled this con, and now they're going to get away, and they're going to go and let's score the mother lode.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to run the oil scam, which first off, she ends up going into this bar.
I think it's like a is it a VFW or something? Or no, it's a Legion.
Maybe it's a Legion Hall, but
something like that.
So, like you said, one of them is Alan Ruck, who's an idiot, who we know from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and he was a starship captain in Star Trek Generations.
Oh, well, he was supposed to be at Mississippi Comic-Con, but he canceled.
Yeah, so everybody knows him from Ferris Bueller, though. See all of these Star Trek.
Yeah, he's the rich kid in Ferris Bueller.
Yeah. Rory Calhoun is in it. Who is he? He's Farmer Vincent from Motel Hell. He's the one that had the bag, the pee bag on his belt.
Oh, okay.
Noble Willingham. Where do I know that name from? Well, he was in The Howling, but he was also in tons of Walker Texas Ranger episodes.
Is he the kind of fat one with the mustache?
Yes.
Yeah, he's also in Ace Ventura. He's the owner of the Dolphins.
Okay. And Steve Cahan, who
is in every Richard Donner movie.
Yeah, he was the captain in all of the Lethal Weapon movies. Yeah. So anyway, they're all there, and she comes in with this whole thing about how she hates the men that she works for, and she is a ball breaker. Mm-hmm. I mean, literally, she crushes it. Anyway,
she gets in a little scuff with Alan Ruck.
And she grabs him by the cajones.
By the gishkas.
The gushkish.
Mm-hmm.
By the mothballs. And while that's all going on, Lou Diamond Phillips comes in, and he's playing the part of the landman, not excavator, estimate, but he's found where
we struck oil.
Yes.
And it's in a graveyard.
It's in a graveyard. But she wants him to wait to turn it in so they can go and buy it. Well, then the four businessmen are like, oh, wait a minute. We want to be involved in it. And they take them out to the cemetery where.
Well, they each pony up, say they're going to pony up $5,000. It comes out to $25,000
right, to pay him off to hold off for a week. And then they go out to the cemetery and they've already set up this little bubbling.
Yeah, because she asked him, did you set up the oil? He's like, oh, I've already set it up.
Got it. It's like farts in a bathtub. So they're all in. But then the next day, when they get back together, there's a problem. Not only do we have to buy the cemetery, we have to buy land.
The surrounding land first.
So now we need more money, including you need to give us $78,000.
It come well, $72K. 72. They each have to come up with $72,000 in order for it to work.
Okay.
And it's like 300 and something thousand total, and it's each 72.
And it just so happens that she mentioned earlier in the episode to Jerry that she has $80,000 because she's been saving their money instead of gambling it and whatever, like her husband did. And so they're like, okay, we're going to make this work. And she shows up, but before.
Well, they get in an argument.
Right.
She gets in an argument with Jerry
in the
hotel room after they make the agreement.
He wants to just go.
Yes. And she's like, no, we're going to do this. And she basically emasculates him, saying he's not a man type stuff. So he gets pissed off and he leaves.
Right.
Well, in the next scene, she's showing up because the men called her over and they have Lou Diamond Phillips tied up, saying that he attempted to rob one of them of the money.
Because they went to the one guy's house where it was in the safe.
Yes. So they've been beating him up until they called her. So she's like, oh, now you want to rip me off? And she pulls out this like syringe of
acid.
Yeah, that she's gonna
the oil.
Yeah. And he basically tells her to go to hell, and she
right in the
she injects him with the stuff, and he's all
he was putting it on too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Good job, Lou.
So now they got to get rid of the body. So they go to do that.
And well, there happens to be a cemetery real close by. Let's go over there and bury him there.
Which is where they were going anyway. So they're digging him up, or they digging up the grave, and Lou Diamond Phillips wakes up. And she's like, oh, baby, it was so perfect. It was so perfect. No, so the men weren't there. It was just her.
Yeah.
She went to get rid of it. And she's like, it was so perfect. It was so perfect. And he starts, I don't remember what happens. Does he start laughing at her or whatever?
Isn't that when Jerry shows up?
And then,
Larry shows up.
Yeah, Larry shows up. John Cassier, he's not dead.
And you find out it's not a 2-person scam. It's a 2-man scam. Yeah, that's what he tells her at first. Because then later on, the 4 guys show up.
The 4 men show up.
They're all involved in it. So it's a 6-man scam. That's what makes her so mad.
And that's what pisses her off, because men have been pissing her off, taking advantage of her.
So she's standing in the coffin at the bottom of it. And you look down and there's actually
they realize
oil.
There's real oil there.
Yeah. And they're all super excited, and she takes out the lighter.
Because they're going to kill her. And they're going to strike oil.
They're going to take her 80,000 or 72 plus
and
the
go buy the land and strike oil. And they're actually going to get rich. And so she's like, nope. She throws her cigarette at the oil. Boom. Which, would that really happen?
No.
Okay.
I don't know that it would catch fire.
But there's this huge explosion and they all die.
That's Hollywood, folks.
Yeah.
No, it's very hard to set those things on fire. Most of the time when you see explosions like that, it's gasoline, but it's actually the fumes.
It's the fumes. It's not the liquid, right?
Yeah. So, but again, like we said earlier,
so it's full of double crossings,
triple crossings, and it's the only on-screen appearance of John Cassier, the guy, in the entire series.
And at the end of the episode, he's like, "Man, this guy right here,
because he's watching it on VHS.
His voice is lovely and." he has the best performance in the whole episode.
Yeah. It was pretty doggone funny. So,
but he was actually really bad.
He was, but I think he was supposed to.
Yeah, I think he was overdoing it, but he was taking Bill Paxton and like doubling Bill Paxton's overacting.
Doubling down.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were going to sneeze.
Oh, no.
No, it's just a yawn.
No, yeah,
okay.
You bored me. Okay. All right. So after that, we are going to go to episode 13, Till Death Do We Part.
Yep. And I remember this one, but I did not remember how it ended.
Okay. Well, this one came out on December 8th, 1983, and it was based on the Haunt of Fear issue number 12. Now, this episode was full of people. I really, really enjoyed it. So it starts off that Gigolo Johnny, played by John Stamos, who we all know from Full House. I actually got to see him perform live with the Beach Boys.
Oh, really?
On a beach at Miramar. Very small, intimate thing. So he's also a very talented musician, Uncle Jesse. So he's having an affair.
Well, the first thing you see is the black limousine.
Right.
And it's driven by Frank Stallone, the great Frank Stallone, and his name is Tony.
Tony, right.
He gets out of the limousine, and the guy from Star Trek, what's his name?
Okay. So that's Frank, who's played by Robert Picardo.
There you go.
The emergency medical hologram from Star Trek Voyager.
Yeah. I know him as the Johnny Cab from Total Recall.
That's right.
So he gets out with a blonde lady.
Who's played by Kate Vernon.
Right. And her name is Lucy.
Lucy Chadwick. And Kate Vernon, do you know who that is?
The lady inside? Oh, no. Who's Kate Vernon?
She's
Lucy?
She's Lucy. She was
I didn't recognize
not Adama's wife, but in the reboot of Battlestar Galactica, she was the wife of like the second in command of the Battlestar. And she was not horrible actor. She's a great actor, but she was like horrible.
A horrible person.
Oh my gosh. So to see her like this, so much younger and stuff, I was like, oh.
Yeah, she's a good looking lady.
Yeah.
So anyway, Frank Stallone or Tony pops the trunk and tells her to help him get this body out of the trunk.
Right.
And so they get the body out of the trunk. You don't know who it is.
Right.
And they tell her she has to watch.
Right.
And so Tony starts to chop up the body with an axe.
Right. And then we start jumping.
Then it starts flashbacking after that. But this is the opening scene. That's the first. So you have no idea what's going on. They're just making this chick watch as they chop up this body.
Right. And at first, Kate doesn't come out at first, or Lucy doesn't come out at first. So you're wondering, is it Kate? Is it the gigolo?
Well, they didn't show any of them though.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
But later on, when you see the body,
oh yes.
Okay, who's not here?
Correct.
That could be that body, but then we find out who it is.
So yeah, that's that scene. Then it goes back and you start getting the flashbacks, and it's showing Johnny making out and whatever with
ruthless Ruth Sanderson,
right?
Wonderfully played by Eileen Brennan, who
Mrs. Peacock
in Clue, and she was also Captain Lewis in Private Benjamin, the Goldie Hawn movie.
Oh, okay.
Yes, she was really good in that too. But she is a wealthy and powerful middle-aged woman with heavy connections to the mafia,
right?
Who is very, very possessive of Johnny, and we see that Lucy is the cigarette girl in one of her clubs. And so she's standing there watching them sit around and make out and stuff.
And you can tell she doesn't like it.
Yeah, she doesn't like it, but she keeps it together. And right then, something's
going on. And so they get out to leave, and as they're walking by, Johnny and her make eye contact, and it's like, okay, there is something going on there.
Yeah.
So
you probably have the blow by blow better than I do, but it keeps jumping back and forth. So we go back, and
so then it goes back to, I guess, current or real time.
Right.
It goes back to them being in the woods
where Frank Robert Picardo, is creepy AF.
Yep.
He's like, hey, that
jewelry,
that watch, is that real diamonds? Oh, my wife loves real diamonds. Would you mind taking that off for me? And then later on, it's, that's a nice skirt. You know what? Now my wife couldn't wear. Oh, but my daughter, she could wear that. Maybe make it short. And let's have
the blouse too.
The blouse too. Yeah. So then she's standing in her white underwear, while those bodies over here are being chopped up. Not that I have anything wrong with Kate Vernon standing around in her white underwear. Right.
But it's very creepy and odd. Then bam, we go back in time again.
Right.
I say back in time, it's probably just like an hour earlier.
Yeah. At the club.
Right. And you see Johnny and Lucy are making out, and they're about to do the wild thing on Ruth's desk in her office. Well, while they're in the middle of that, they get interrupted. They hear Ruth. So she's like, oh my God. So Lucy goes and hides in the closet.
But again, leaves this much of the curtains open.
And it's just like So in comes Ruth with Frank and Tony.
And Johnny. And another guy.
Well, Johnny was already in there, but then
that's true.
This other guy, and it's a business deal.
Yeah, right? Frank.
Tony's played by Frank Stallone. Yeah,
so that's where it gets confusing.
Yeah, I think they did that on purpose. So you got Frank and Tony are her two, her muscle.
Right.
And this
Definitely
other guy,
brain.
This other mob guy who
used to deal with
her husband, and he keeps insulting her because she's a woman. It's about. Like, I think they stole some diamonds and they're going to go.
The diamonds are crap. And she's like not going to give him money. Yeah. And so he insults
she kills
her one too many times.
Yep. She kills him.
So now we know who the body that's being chopped up is.
Okay. But while she's stabbing him, of course, Lucy goes.
And they look up and you can see her through. So they're like, Johnny, why did you do this?
The funniest part is Johnny saying, what are you doing in here? You trying to take money from my lady? And she's like,
Johnny,
she's standing here in her underwear. I'm not stupid.
Yeah. So then it jumps back to present time.
Right.
And they're, I guess, getting ready to bury the parts. And now it's time for.
Well, you see, at this point, you see Johnny in the car with Ruth. So you're like, okay. The body they're chopping up was that mobster that insulted Ruth, because the whole time you were thinking it was John Stamos that they were chopping up, but it wasn't.
Nope.
But she tells him, you know what's going to make it better? If you do it, meaning kill Lucy. So he goes out, he gets the gun from Frank and tells him, I'm going to take care of it. Yep. He tells Lucy to turn around. And she's like, no, please don't. I love you. And begging for her life. And he's like, turn around. So she turns around. And then he just becomes an action hero.
Right.
He kills Frank. Then he gets in a shootout with Tony.
Mm-hmm.
John Stamos. He actually was very convincing. He starts double fisting two different pistols.
As Ruth must get in and drive away.
Right. Ruth drives away. So she gets away, but he killed the other two. So Lucy is like, oh, I knew you loved me, Johnny. I knew it. And
they immediately drop to their knees.
Yeah. And it's so like, oh. Yeah.
So then they go back. And now
he says, we can run away together, but we have one more thing to do.
I love too that he takes his double-breasted jacket off and puts it on Kate. And instantly it's like fashion. It's like, okay, so one more thing to do. And what is it? Now we're back at the club where Ruth is there with all of her muscle.
Yep.
And now we've got two action heroes because
they're both double fisted with dual pistols,
sunglasses, and Kate Vernon in that jacket dress.
Knock on the door.
Just so cool. He just turns and goes
boom, right in the gut.
Not even looking.
Who directed this episode?
I don't know. That's what you were supposed to do.
Let me look it up because it was actually decent action directing. I was kind of impressed with it.
So we're going to stop and you're going to edit it here?
No? We're going to keep going.
Okay.
We don't edit things here. Just keep talking. Just keep talking. So what happens in the shootout?
So then the doors they bust open and both of them come in and they're just pow, pow, pow. And they're shooting this guy and they're shooting that guy. They don't get hit at all. They end up killing all of the bad guys except Ruth. Now, the reason they don't kill Ruth is because Ruth has the combination
to the safe. Of course, there's always a safe.
So they take her in there and they make her open the safe. And then she's like, Johnny, you know what would make this better?
If you do it.
Her. And so she's like, Ruth's like, no, Johnny, I've been good to you. Da, da, da. And then Johnny comes up and he pow, shoots her. Or does he?
Then they start talking and Lucy is like, she puts the gun to Johnny's head. She's like, you think I could ever love a guy like you? This was all part of the plan. So she wants the money. So she was conning Johnny.
Right.
When Johnny thought they were together conning
You were
Ruth.
my way inside the door.
Right. Yes. You were my way inside the door. And then, boom.
Shoots him.
But then we're right back to reality.
Does she?
Right. Right when she shoots him, we're back to reality and he shot
her
Lucy.
In the back of the head.
Yeah, he was imagining what would happen if he didn't kill her.
Now,
the whole time.
Was he or was she? I think it was her.
You think it was her?
I think it was her.
Oh, okay.
Because she turns around and gets the better of Johnny in her head.
Okay.
And
I thought he was just playing it through like, what if she's conning me?
I think it was that she was thinking.
Oh, okay.
You know, and the reason I say that is because the last book,
oh yeah, you're right. The bullet goes through her head.
Right.
The last thing
and then it ends it. So that's why I'm thinking that.
There you go.
And then he goes back and he gets in.
He lights up a cigarette and he goes back in the limo.
Sorry, baby. I gotta go back to Ruthie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a good episode. But yeah, the guy,
directed by?
The director, I don't know who it is. His name is W. Peter Liff, L-L-I-F-F. And he was one of the writers on Point Break.
Oh, okay. I can kind of see that.
Yeah. But let's see, directing. I'm not sure how much he's directed. No, he hasn't directed much. Just that Tales from the Crypt episode and 2 other things.
Did a good job.
So, and it was TV stuff. So,
yeah. No, you did a good job.
No, it was good.
I really liked the twist. I did not expect that at all.
Mm-hmm.
It was done very.
Yeah, I think the oil one and this one are my 2 favorite out of these 5. I think those are my 2 favorites.
5 or is it 6? Okay, just because I have to bring up one other episode.
Okay, do it.
Okay. It is episode number 7 and it's called House of Horror.
Okay.
Now, I'm not going to go dive all into it because you didn't watch it and everything. But the main reason you need to watch this is because this episode is about 3 pledges. One of them is named Walter, who is Keith Coogan, the boy in the Adventures of Babysitting.
Okay.
Okay. Jason London from Dazed and Confused, and Will Wheaton from Star Trek The Next Generation.
He was at Mississippi Comic Con as well.
Was he?
All these people were there.
All they were there. From Star Trek The Next Generation. And they're all trying to pledge to a horrible pledge master played excellently by
Is this the haunted house one?
This is.
Yeah, that's a good episode.
Kevin Dillon, who was from the Blob 88, filmed about 12 miles away from here in Abbeville. Yep.
I just got the 4K the other day.
Oh, I got to borrow that one day. That's a great movie. With the girl from Saw. She's in it.
Really?
The one who's like Saw's apprentice.
I've only seen the first Saw.
Oh, okay. She's in the first one.
I saw it once.
She's the one that has the bear trap at the beginning. Yeah. So
okay. I just remember Cary Elwes cutting his own foot off. That's all I remember.
Yeah. So anyway, this is just a fun one. They have to go to a haunted house supposedly, and as they got to make their way up. But before that, they end up meeting some hot sorority babes.
Yeah. That's a good episode.
From Delta Omega Alpha. Did you catch that? Well, you haven't
DOA.
DOA. Yeah. And things go awry. But it's really cool because Will is pretty young. And this is right in the middle of Next Generation. Because Next Gen started in 89, I think. But anyway, it's a little bonus. So
I've seen that episode. It's a good episode. Yeah. I mean, I've seen them all, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good episode.
But that was just a fun one because I have to keep sticking you with the Star Trek. I ended up watching this by mistake because it was on the list of the 6 that we were going to do.
It's really the only one we left off, and we probably could have just done it.
So I had, you know me, I always like to put people on spot, whether I should or not.
That's all right.
But it's a fun episode. But all of these were great episodes.
Yeah. In season 4, I remember a couple of them were duds, but these were all enjoyable.
These were all good. That's all good. So how do you feel about this format?
I like this better.
You like this better?
I like this better. It seemed just a little more natural.
Okay. I also want to tell you that in preparation for us getting to the end of season 7, I have watched Demon Knight and Bordello of Blood.
Demon Knight's awesome, isn't it?
I was surprised. I had forgotten how much it was a good movie and how crazy Billy Zane is. He is insane in this movie.
And he's great.
Great. So
yeah, it's and I've told you that it's probably my favorite horror movie. If it's not my favorite, it's definitely like top 2 or 3.
William Sanderson is great in it.
Oh, William Sattler.
Thank you. Sattler. I always do that too. I don't know why. But,
he was in the first ever episode. Remember, he was the Electric Man.
I remember. So anyway, just want to let you know that I'm already looking forward to that. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put 5 episodes, and I promise you I won't do an extra one, of season 6. Oh, by the way, see, we brought our own Crypt Keeper.
Yeah,
I've had that for like 20 plus years. It doesn't even work anymore, but he gives us some ambiance, I think.
He's there.
Yeah. Back when he worked, you could push a button and these would light up and he would cackle and his head would move and his arms would move. So, oh, look, they still move if you put your finger on them.
If you move them.
Yeah, if you move them. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to come back for season 6, and then we're going to wrap up with season 7 and then head straight into the movies.
And you want to do the 2 movies together?
I think we should do each one.
Each one? Okay.
Yeah, because both of them have enough.
Yeah, we can deep dive into them.
Yeah. And into the actor, if that's what's good with you.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then when we finish with that, we still have not decided. We haven't even really talked about Tales from the Crypt Keeper.
Oh, yeah. Well, we talked about Tales from the Dark Side.
Right.
Because I've never seen any of them.
But Tales from the Crypt Keeper is the animated show that they did with Tales from the Crypt episodes. So once again, thank you for having us here.
Thank you for coming.
Oh, you're very welcome. I was happy to do it. And I guess we should go ahead and say happy 4th of July.
Yep.
This will be coming out right around that time. So to all of my friends across the pond,
have fun at work tomorrow.
Yeah, buddy.
We'll be off eating hamburgers and hot dogs.
Yep. Like Americans.
America.
All right. Well, until next time, thank you so much.
Like, subscribe, tell your friends.
Click, click.